welcome to another edition of Between the Posts. I'm joined by Division 6 expert Jad Ghosn. Welcome back, mate.
Yes, happy to be here. Always love coming on the show. It's always a good fun and love to talk about footy, so why not?
And boy, have we got some stuff here in Division 6. Actually, on that topic, mate, what are we looking at? What are your major headings in the Div 6 report?
Yeah, so I look at the last few weeks, the run into finals, who finished in what position, also a bit of a preview for the finals, what could happen, and just looking at the season in general. A couple of the big goal kickers we talk about every week in Div 6, very exciting, and a few other stats I found along the way.
Yeah, beautiful. Of course, Div 6 now the only place you'll find an undefeated team in Salisbury, so looking forward to seeing your thoughts on them. But mate, I make my return to commentary this Saturday. I'm so genuinely excited. Jealous of the fact you've been able to do it all year. You've been at Div 1 games pretty much all year. What's the feel like? What's the vibe? How's the commentary been?
Yeah, it's good. Very high quality football this year, and it's evenly matched as we saw last week. A lot of upsets along the way. The ladder also shows this last round has a lot to play for. Every team almost has something to play for. So yeah, it's been good. All the clubs have been friendly with us and very accommodating, and it's good fun to be out there every week watching good local footy.
Yes, beautifully done. Of course, we've got all our usual segments on the show. I'll be doing my Division 1 report. Div 1 a week behind, going into that final round of the year. Bec's been in to do her Division 1 report and women's report. What else we got, Jad?
Yeah, so of course my wrap, as we just talked about, as well as goals, marks of the weeks, and we'll call our eye.
And I'm sure you've seen some great goals and marks of the year so far. No, fantastic, mate. It's always good to have you on the show. I love the research you do with your tiny little writing there. There's about 16 pages to get through in Div 6, so stay tuned. We're back with more Between the Posts. It's Division 1 wrap time with TJ. Round 17 is in the books. That's right, the penultimate round. You've just paid for that education, Mum, and I've used that word in a sentence. You'd be happy with that. Going into the final round, and what the permutations of this ladder and this competition are amazing. The top three of the top four teams have lost. You've got bottom teams winning. It is crazy. So let's have a look at these games, and we're going to start at the Falcon River. PNU were visited by PAC. It was Paynham 8-12-60. PAC getting the chocolates 8-13-61. The man in focus is that boy, Razzle Dazzle Brazzle. We'll have a look at his form. Of course, he kicked a couple of goals, including what would be the match winner. Garrels kicked 3 for the Reds, whilst Kristancic, playing as a forward, the go-to forward up there for the Falcons, kicked 4. Speaking to Adam Jeffries this morning, really interesting game because PAC shot out the blocks kicking the first 3. They kicked 3 late in the third, and then they kicked 2 in the last. They had 3 clumps in the game where they kicked goals sort of in quick succession. That was it. The rest of the time, the game was very much owned by Paynham, but they couldn't get the job done. Brazzell was the one that actually kicked the match winner, but he kicked it with quite a few minutes to go to put them 4 points up. Paynham having the final 3 shots of the game, all minor scores. The Reds victorious and avoiding relegation officially in what was such a unique bottom 5. So PAC will now finish 6th, and PNU, instead of fighting for that double chance, are off to an elimination final, and it looks like an away elimination final. PNU's 3-5 in the final quarter wasn't quite good enough, unfortunately, for them. Let's have a quick look at that goal from Brazzell in the last quarter to give PAC the win.
Pressing.
Now, I reckon he tried to play for that and he got it. Well, Brazzell, Alfred fan. In range, slight angle. Goes long from 49, it's going to get there!
What's he done? It's a goal.
Now, if you're a Red man, free kick was there all day long, wasn't it? If you're a Falcon on the balcony, maybe not so much, but that's the beauty of footy, isn't it? And well done to Tyson Brazzell for kicking the goal. Of course, being a stream team game, there is a lot of great prizes. The Moseley Voucher Best Team Man went to Will Sharlick. The Neomorph Mouthguard Player of the Day was Josh Garrels for his opening goal of the day. And the man who took home all the prizes was, of course, Tyson Brazzell. Better players not named in the votes for PNU, Nunn and Giannini, whilst the PAC, Big, Geordie, Neal and Macaulay were very good. But the votes, again, winning team didn't actually get all the votes because it was so close all day. Tyson Brazzell, 1 vote. Joseph Christancy, 2 votes for his 4 goals. And Jed Spence, the man in the long sleeves, was fantastic for Payneham. Got the best on-ground votes. A huge win there for the Reds, and as expected, they will stay in Division 1. And if you look back on the tape, you might find that some of us experts actually tipped them to finish 6th. So a little pat on the back for us. Okay, our next one was a bit of a shock, pardon the pun, because Sacred Heart, 5-10-40, Golden Grove, 7-10-52, a 12-point win there to the Kookaburras. Once again, though, we did tip this one. Jake Pittman was the man, the star, number 6 for Golden Grove. We'll have a look at some of his footage and some of his heat maps because he was outstanding. He's a real mudlark. He loves it, and it was a day just tailor-made for him, wet, windy, in and under type conditions. The only multiple goal scorer for the day was Pascoe with 2. But in the commentators' notes, it was clear that Golden Grove were actually more desperate in a scrappy game, and that man Pittman was really the catalyst. There was a couple of great highlights, though. None better than the Jag Meatwork snag of the day from Michael Cavallaro.
Goes to Shepherd, gets a slicer down the line, direction of Pascoe and Cavallaro. Smart kick, good work off the ground by Cavallaro. Could this be the snag of the year? Is this the snag of the year? Umpire says, oh, clear Cavallaro!
This is a huge win for Golden Grove because their last month they've really started looking like a top-end Div 1 team, and now they get the luxury, assuming results go their way, of a home elimination final, and anything can happen from there. Better players who didn't make our Player of the Year votes were, for Golden Grove, Shepherd and Preston. Whilst for shock, Lowby and again Bo McRae back in the best players, 2nd week in a row. It's great to see him come back from his knee injury and have an impact. But the Player of the Year votes were 1 vote to the Div 1 Dusty Josh Glenn, 2 votes to Seb Kerrish and 3 votes to that man Jake Pittman. Well done to the Kookaburras, a huge win, and I think the finals might be a little bit harder to predict than we've been thinking all year. Our next game was between Brighton 5-9-39 and Port District 13-11-89. Joey Haynes continues his tremendous season, number 11 for the Districts. He'll be our man in footage. Goal kickers for Port District, Big Scotty Lysette with 3 and a host of players with 2, Batty, Haynes and Siney. Whilst for Brighton, Book and Nerlich with a brace. Some of the notes, well, looking at the score, it was Port District. They really are starting to flex. 6-2 to 2 points at quarter time. Probably done and dusted there. And then at half-time, 8-5 to 5 points. Brighton didn't trouble the scorers or the major scorers in the first half. Port now have a double chance, and with Sacred Heart and Glenunga losing, they really are starting to look quite deadly. Let's have a look, though. There's a bit of a highlight for Brighton. The Jag Meatwork snag of the day was Scott Nerlich.
If he can snap it in from here, they practice these on a daily occurrence.
Some of the better players for Brighton, Nerlich and Harvey. While support, it was Davidson and Lysette. But the players that actually got the votes was Jarman Segal from Brighton, continues his tremendous season. 2 votes to the gaffer, Cooper Gaffney, with that lasering left foot. And the best on ground was Joseph Haynes. Porter coming, competition, you are on notice. Our next one was what I called the game of the round. It was 9th versus 10th, and I absolutely believed it was game of the round. And, well, strange things happen, don't they? Tea Tree Gully, 8 goals, 9-57. Broadies, 3-10-28. This one was at Broadies too. Congratulations to Gullies. Chris Olsen was best on ground. The man with the long hair, and he got a tremendous engine. He provided plenty of drive for the Gullies. Brody Latham was the chief destroyer on the day, kicking 4 goals, continuing his tremendous year for a mid-small forward, doing great things and may actually win the goal kicking. Broadies kicked 1 goal 8 after quarter time. So that they kicked 1 goal after the 10-minute mark of the first quarter, and that's just not going to win your Division 1 games. Tea Tree Gully put in a tremendous, solid 4-quarter effort. Olsen, the former Bulldog, was outstanding. I was actually looking through my phone photos the other day, and I found a photo of him. He won the 400 metres grand final. It used to be a grand final sprint. They do a 400-metre grand final race at the Sanford Grand Final. He actually won that, so he does have a great engine. He's got elite speed and really tearing it up in Division 1. He'll be looking for 1 more big week to hopefully keep Tea Tree Gully up. Both teams will be playing to survive in round 18. It only gets more exciting as we move forward. Better players for Tea Tree Gully, not in the votes, were Penny and White, whilst the Broadies, Steve Jackson, what a great year he's had, and the returning Nick Little was very good. But the votes all went to Tea Tree Gully. It was West, Latham and Olsen. And our last game of the round, well, we all saw this coming, didn't we? It was 8th place St Peter's taking on undefeated Glenunga. St Peter's 9-10-64, Glenunga 8-9-57. This is not a misprint. It was Spockers by 7 points. Congratulations, you've ended the winning streak of Glenunga at 16 games. The man who we can have a look at is number 12, Malachi Carruthers, who's put together a real nice last month of football. Chief goal scorers for Spock was Johnny Reid, and for Glenunga was Abe Davis. It was Spock's third quarter, the premiership quarter as they call it, that actually got the job done. Coming from behind at halftime, they kicked 4 goals to just the 1 point. Look, in the lead-up first half of the year, we kept saying Spock's the best 10th place team I've ever seen in Div 1, and it's come to fruition. Now, whilst Glenunga had, I think it was somewhere between 6 and 8 outs, the commentators' notes say, Nathan Grima is not a man of excuses. Now, I did contact Nathan. He did say he did not want to be quoted, but I can absolutely guarantee you, if you're a player at Glenunga this week, it'll be a reasonably heavy week on the track, one would think. Good reality check for Glenunga. Again, is it the loss they needed to have? I'm not sure if I subscribe to that theory, but I don't think it's going to hurt their chances. And just a bit of a wake-up call. Nothing is a foregone conclusion in Division 1, and anything can happen on the day with the quality of the players running around the competition. Better players, it's interesting to note, Glenunga just named the 3 of the best players, Zachy Smith, Davis and young Gabe Lagana, whilst Spocky, Belpero and Bedford were amongst the best. But the votes went to David Grant, 1 vote, Ed Allen and that man Malachi Carruthers, 3 votes. Probably need to actually celebrate this win for Spock. It is a great win. Doesn't actually quite guarantee them survival yet, but gee, it's a big, big step. And they do close out years very well, as we've seen in the last couple. Well done to the Spockers. All right, which takes us to the exciting ladder, and it's just been shaken up a little bit, hasn't it? Glenunga 16-1, Shock 12-5, and Port District 10.5 wins. We know that. We know they're the top 3. We know how the first week or week and a half of the finals looks. Then it gets real interesting because Golden Grove 9-8, 4th, and that home final is theirs to lose now. PNU 9-8, but the percentage they just simply can't make up. PAC 7-10, you are safe. Well done, Reds. We'll see you in Div 1 in 2025. But the bottom 4 are still battling. Spock 6-11, you think they'd be safe, but that percentage of 46% is where it gets dangerous. Brighton 5.5 wins. They could use 1 more just to be safe. Teatree Gully 5 wins, but of all the bottom 4 have the best percentage with 47.9, and Broadies 5-12, 44.78. They might need to make up that 1.22% on Spock to avoid relegation. And let's have a look how the games pan out this week. Well, the first one I'm going to start with is Glenunga and PNU. Can Glenunga bounce back? It's at Webb Oval. Obviously, these teams play for the Tommy Javor Cup, and I'll be there commentating this game and handing out that imaginary cup that doesn't really exist. Should be a great game. I expect the Rams to be too strong. It's PAC and Sacred Heart at Park 9. PAC finding a little bit of form, and Shock just getting the top-end speed wobbles. I think they'll eradicate that this week, and they'll get back on the winners list. Golden Grove and Teatree Gully, local rivals, clubs that I'm not sure if they hate each other, but when you're local rivals, you want to beat your local rivals. It's at Harpers Field. Golden Grove win, they get a home elimination final. Teatree Gully win, they probably avoid relegation. Couldn't be much more on the line than that. I'm going to take the Cookers at home. Port and St Peter's at Largs Bay. Now again, Port are taking all before them at the moment. St Peter's coming off the win against Glenunga. I think it's important though you look at history of Division 1 here. And Port District haven't always had big round 18s, especially when there's nothing on the line. And there is nothing on the line in the way of ladder movement. So could St Peter's surprise them? Perhaps. A draw will save St Peter's, but also if they do lose, they need to lose by as little as possible to avoid that relegation. I'm going to take Port. And our last one is a straight-out elimination from the competition game. It's Broadies and Brighton at Broadies. Broadies last month, they just can't take a trick. They win a lot of quarters but haven't won many games. If Brighton win, they will stay up. If Broadies win, they are likely to stay up. What a huge game. Tigers, last chance saloon. I think they just get the chocolates. Division 1, 1 round to go. What a season. I can't wait for next week. I'll be back then. Thanks for joining us.
Get a quick and easy low-rate car loan from Police Credit Union today.
It is, of course, Friday finals season for the women in the Adelaide Footy League. We have prelims, we have grand finals, we have so much to get through, we have it all. I'm Bec Northcote, let's do it. And we're starting off with the Division 1 women. There was a massive prelim final between the Henley Sharks and Broadview. Now, back in round 14, Broadview beat Henley by a massive 50 points. So Henley knew there was a little bit of work to do there. Now, they got a bit closer to Broadview, but unfortunately not close enough. Broadview came home with the 10-point win, 5-3-33 to 3-5-23. Now, I've spoken previously about Broadview just hitting some really great form at the best time of the year, and they have proved it again this week. For the Henley Sharks, they've had a strong season and I think still one to be proud of. They finished second on the ladder. Now, they obviously would have wanted to win a final, so that would have been a bit disappointing, but I think they are definitely building something special down there at Henley. Now, looking at the scoreboard, interestingly, same amount of scoring shots to both teams with 8 each. And if we look at how it played out, well, Henley, they got off to a strong start, kicking 2 goals to 1 in the first quarter. But the real difference was probably in the second term. Henley were held to only 2 points, where Broadview kicked 2 goals 1 to get themselves into a 5-point lead. A really tight third quarter was won by Henley 2 points to 1, but the Tigers were still in a 4-point lead. And as they did last week, Broadview came home so strong, kicking 2 goals to 1 to Henley's 1 goal 1 to take out the prelim, sending themselves into the Division 1 Women's Grand Final. Now, in addition to this, Broadview did celebrate their first female player to hit the 100-game milestone, and that was Ella Summers. So well done to Ella. It is always awesome to see women hitting those kind of milestones in the league. Now, we've heard about the scoreboard, but who were the major players in this game? Well, for Broadview, their goals, of course, came through Liana Antonoli. She kicked 2. Remy Grant, Abby Player, and Charlie Price-Smith also kicked goals. Their best contributors were Zara Malloy, Ella Metcalf, and Amy Jones. For Henley, their goals came through Tegan Dunbar, Ellie Fixter and Kayla Rodbran. Now, Ellie Fixter has had a massive season for the Henley Sharks. I wouldn't be surprised if she took out their best and fairest. She was judged best on by the coaches yesterday, and their other good players were Chloe Charity and Alexandra Smythe. Now, while their season is over for Henley, I think their time in Division 1 will come. They have got a really great team to build on, plenty of talent in there, and I expect to see them continue to improve up the ranks in 2025. As I said, they've got plenty of talent there. I think they can go places. Now, for Broadview, they have, of course, now set up this huge grand final clash with Payneham on the weekend. Now, of course, we will be there streaming all the action from the Division 1 grand final. Of course we will. You couldn't miss out on seeing any of this. Now, the two teams here, Broadview and Payneham, well, they've got different things to prove in their flag pursuits. Broadview, they're thinking about last season, I think. They finished top of the ladder and they were bundled out of finals, and I think the hurt would still be there from that. They've got a real chance to prove something this year. Payneham, well, they were agonisingly close last year. They lost the grand final by 1 point, and I've said it many times, I think they're very much in their redemption era, but very strong things to play for on both sides. Now, who are going to be the major players in this grand final? Well, for Payneham, we cannot go past Abby Claby. She's just won the Dutchke medal, best and fairest player in Division 1 women. She also won the leading goal kicker. She got the double. She is absolutely elite. What are Broadview going to do about her? Are they going to tag her? Do they have a plan for her? It's going to be interesting to see. Over to the Broadview side, well, they have got that real danger forward line. Remy Grant, Liana Antonoli. If they get firing, it could be hard for Payneham to stop. They've also got Amy Jones, who's having an elite season in the midfield, very consistent, as well as Zara Malloy. So we've got plenty of names to look out there in the grand final. Now, we'll have a bit of a look at the record over the season, and if that's anything to go by, this game is going to come down to the wire because the record is 1-1 for the season. In round 4, Payneham won their clash by 5 points. In round 11, it was all Broadview. There really is nothing in it. It's going to be close. It's going to be stressful. I'm going to be stressed. We're all going to be stressed, but it's going to be a great day. And all the action, of course, will be streamed live. Make sure you look out for those links links on the Adelaide Footy League Facebook page. I cannot wait. The Division 1 Grand Final day is one of the best days on the calendar, and there is, of course, the Division 2 Grand Final as well, which is going to be massive. It's a great day. It's always a great vibe, and there's so many people down there. So the finals to come for Division 2 and 1. Well, in the Div 2 reserves, we're going to see Tea Tree Gully and Hectorville. In Division 2, we'll see Hectorville again, and they'll be taking on Happy Valley. In the Div 1 reserves, well, we're also going to see a showdown between Broadview and Payneham in the lead up to the massive Div 1 Grand Final, again between Payneham and Broadview. So massive day for both clubs in Broadview and Payneham. Will they get one Grand Final each? Will one team take home 2 flags? It's going to be massive, and I cannot wait to see everyone there. Now, it's time to recap a massive day on the weekend at St Mary's Park, because we, of course, had the Division 3 to 6 Grand Finals, and it was huge. There's 4 teams that have come home with flags. Let's have a look at who it was. In Division 3, we've got to say congratulations to the premiers, Anglevale, who defeated Eastern Park by 54 points to take home the flag. 8-9-57 to 3 points, Eastern Park. Great performances on the Anglevale side from Tashayla Caulfield and Britt Perry, with goals to Christy Castle, Aish Colleen and Chelsea Salvini, who both kicked 2 goals, as well as some goals from Alexis Kane and Charlotte Moritz. Now, I am fully aware that those celebrations are still going down at Anglevale. Now, moving on to Division 4, congratulations to the Mitcham Hawks premiers defeating Scotch. There was a massive crowd there of Mitcham Hawks fans as well there to support them. I thought that was awesome to see. The Mitcham fans really got around them. It was like their whole club was out there supporting them. And I got there for most of this game and saw the elite performance of Gemma Monaghan. She got the best on ground. She was awesome. She was elite. So well done to the Mitcham Hawks. In Division 5, well, wowee, there was a little bit of an upset, because huge congrats to Edwardstown, who knocked off the previously undefeated Athelston to claim the flag by 24 points. And if anything, they could have done it a little bit easier, because they kicked 2 goals, 13. But they absolutely stepped up to the plate, took home that flag, and a great performance by Grace Sim, who was the standout performer for the Towns. Now, in Division 6, well, Marion, they finished off their perfect season, undefeated run to win the Division 6 Premiership by 40 points. So it's an exciting time for Marion. They took out that grand final, of course, over Houghton. So well done again to all of our premiers in Divisions 3 to 6. Marion, Edwardstown, Mitcham and Anglevale. Enjoy your celebrations. Have a great time. Party hard. And don't forget, we have got a huge day coming up on Saturday with those Division 1 and 2 grand finals. I will see you there, or see you on the live stream.
Back to Between the Posts. It's Division 6 report time with that man, Jad Ghosn. It's great to have you, mate.
Yes, happy to be here. Always loved all my reports.
Now, I've got to ask you a question. Do you know who Babe Ruth is?
The baseball player?
Yes, of course, if you're a Seinfeld fan, George Costanza thinks he's overrated. But Babe Ruth was famous because Babe Ruth stood on home plate and called his shot like no one else. Hit it in the outfield. And that is what you did, my friend. Only one man told us Elizabeth would win a game. Not only did he tell us Elizabeth would win a game, he told us what round they'd win it and who they'd beat. Outstanding, mate. I don't know how you did it. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was like, you're rightio, Jad. Yeah, well done. Outstanding. Obviously, you've been studying hard, and I tip my hat to you, good sir.
Yeah, well, I'm the Div 6 expert for a reason, so...
I love that. All right, what do you got for us, bro?
Yeah, so we'll start off, of course, home and away season is done in Div 6. We'll look at the ladder. So just at the top of the ladder was Salisbury, undefeated, 18-0. Eastern Park in second with 16-2. Fitzroy finishing in third. over Ingle Farm, and to round out the finals is St Paul's in 5th.
Out and out. One other quick question, Div 6 expert. Who tipped Salisbury, Eastern Park and Fitzroy to finish top 3?
Was that you?
No, it was you.
Oh, yeah.
I had Ingle Farm in 3rd. So you are on fire, mate. I celebrate the successes and own your failures. So well done, mate. Good job.
Yeah, awesome. Houghton District just missing out. We'll get into that, a bit more detail about that later. Rosewater, then Adelaide Lutheran survive in the relegation zone, Central Yard and Elizabeth.
Yep, they'll go to Div 7 next year, 2025.
Yeah, for sure. And Houghton District did miss out. Only a 4-point loss to Fitzroy. If they won that game, they would have sneaked into the final. So unlucky for Houghton District. They have more percentage than the team in 5th. But
it's a game of inches, isn't it? One more goal and Houghton are playing finals, but not to be.
They had a good record since the last time we spoke, 5-3 record Houghton, so they came home strong, but just couldn't fit into the final spot. But after getting promoted, still a good effort for them.
Yep.
Rosewater finishing 7th. They'll build on that season. I went to Rosewater training the other day. We'll get into that later, I'm sure.
I think that might have caught my eye.
Yes, but I spoke with the coach, did a quick interview with one of the assistant coaches down there, Joe, and they got a lot of numbers down there, 60, 70 people training there.
At Rosewater.
Well, yeah.
That's sensational.
They're doing very well there.
Good job, Bulldogs.
Yeah, they'll grow on from this season. Going to the final round as well, the relegation was not confirmed, which made for a big final round yesterday. Adelaide Lutheran and Central United both on 6 points, sitting 8th and 9th respectively. In the end, it was Adelaide Lutheran that survived, only on percentage. They had a percentage of 36.45%. Central United, percentage of 26.97%.
Yep, so Adelaide Lutheran survived with very few wins, got out by the skin of their teeth, but I'm sure they'll regroup and be back better than ever next year.
Yeah, good spot actually. 3 wins only for Adelaide Lutheran all year, but survived, so a little bit lucky there. But Central United got relegated after a tough year, but I'm sure they'll do better in Div 7. As for Elizabeth, I had it in my notes actually to say that I predicted they'll win a game, but beat me to it, and yeah, well done to them. Of course, we know how tough the year was at the start. They've turned it around a little bit, so good luck to them in Div 7.
I'll make a prediction right now. I'm going to go right out on a limb that they will be in Division 7 for 1 year. They'll be back in Div 6.
See that happens. Looking at the ladder, we saw Ingle Farm finish in 4th, Fitzroy in that 3rd spot. A good season for both of them. They'll look to make an impact in the final series and try to beat the top 2 contenders who will be favourite. We'll go into that in a second. But yeah, Fitzroy in 3rd. The top 2 contenders, of course, have been basically all year. Eastern Park in 2nd with a 16-2 record. Only those 2 losses coming to Salisbury.
Yep.
And Salisbury on top, 18-0, undefeated season. Well done to everyone at Salisbury Football Club.
Yeah, it's outstanding. Like I think we've mentioned it already, but the only team in the Adelaide Footy League now, with Glenunga getting done and Henley getting done last week, they've had the perfect season, the perfect minor round season. So, yeah, can they finish it off? I think they probably can because they've got a nice even spread.
Now the final series going to start, and at the time that Eastern Park and Salisbury have been waiting for a while. They've been confirmed as finalists for a while, so the business end of the season for them too, and they'll be the favourites going into it, but as I mentioned, Fitzroy and Ingle Farm will probably have something to do with that, and St Paul's will try their best for sure. Yeah,
they'll be having a crack. I guess you call it, it's not everyone goes into finals to win them, but a bit of a free hit for St Paul's. Probably no one's expecting him to do much, but with Peter Pudney in ruck and a couple of those other boys, Riley Hendricks, I think it is, who's been the best players every single round this year. They've certainly got some weapons.
Yeah, for sure. And the goal kicking for Div 6, it's been talked about almost every week because of how unbelievable it is. 3 players hitting the 100-goal milestone. Sean Mansell from Eastern Park, 121 goals. Joshua Rosenthal from Fitzroy, 118 goals, and Chris Knapp also from Eastern Park, which is also very unusual to have 2 players with 103 goals.
Yep. Ellis from Fitzroy as well with 77. But how unlucky is Rosenthal? I'm not sure there's too many seasons ever you kick 118 in 18 rounds and you don't actually win the goal kicking medal. So, but still, bigger fish to fry in the major round for that young man.
Another stat which you mentioned, Riley Hendricks, 18 out of 18 in the best players. Definitely a fantastic season for him, and to get such consistent footy for 18 rounds is a credit to him, and probably one to watch at the end of the season awards for Div 6.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next week, just previewing the finals now. So we will see Eastern Park versus Fitzroy in that qualifying final, Ingle Farm versus St Paul's in the elimination final, and Salisbury waiting for the winner of Eastern Park and Fitzroy in the second week.
All right, sir. Mr. Div 6 expert, Mr. Tip and everything. It's tipping time. It's elimination. It's elimination final. Ingle Farm and St Paul's. Who wins?
Ingle Farm will win that one, I believe, yes.
I believe so as well. I think they beat them by about 15 goals a couple of weeks ago, so you'd expect even if they're half of that, they'll do. And a pretty big one, Eastern Park and Fitzroy.
I feel like Eastern Park will get the win. They only lost two games all season, to Salisbury.
Yep.
So I feel like Eastern Park will win that one.
And White Reserve will be absolutely kicking. I guess the one thing we probably should talk about as well is Salisbury, the week off. I look at their list as well. There's just such an even spread, such a young team, a fast team. Pryor, Goods, Duncan, Keenahan, Gamio. There's just, it's not like shutting one player down. Coach BJ, Brett Joseph as well, has got them. Well, they're ticking like clockwork. Do they need to lose a game to win the flag? I don't think so. I think they can actually go 20-0. Div 6 Grand Final, I would think, and I mean, I don't know the planning. I think if it's at Central Districts, being that it could be Eastern Park, Salisbury, that probably favours Salisbury on the big ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And that Grand Final, I'm going to be commentating it, so looking forward to it. Been covering them all year, so it'll be good to get out there and watch them actually perform. And I predict it's going to be Salisbury and Eastern Park, but I'm sure Fitzroy and the rest and Ingle Farm will have something to say about that.
It's not over till it's over. Yogi Bear said that, I think. So, no, fantastic, mate. Anything else?
That's all from me.
You have been absolutely sensational. I've talked you up enough, but thanks for joining us for the Div 6 wrap. Of course, it's finals time. It's exciting. We're back with more Between the Posts after this. Welcome back to Between the Posts. It's your favourite segment. That's right, it's time for the goals and marks of the week.
Go on, Cavallaro. Smart kick. Good work off the ground by Cavallaro. Could this be the snag of the year? Is this the snag of the year? Umpire says, oh, clear, Cavallaro.
Absolutely flying at the minute. Oh, what a grab! That was absolutely terrific.
Time for What Caught Our Eye. Oh, very good, Jad. All right, I'll start in Div 1, mate. Of course, Div 1, round 17, the other divisions all done and dusted now for the minor round. Broadies and Teachery Gully. Teachery Gully had to win, or they were going to Div 2, and they did, courtesy of 4 Brody Latham goals and a 29-point win at Broadies. But I've got one more, Jad. It'd be remiss of me not to mention St. Peter's, who've knocked off undefeated Glenunga by 7 points. That is a huge win. Well done to St. Peter's, who themselves are still in a relegation battle.
Yeah, for sure. I had that too.
Oh, did you?
Obviously, St. Peter's winning, that's a big one. But also, arguably 4 out of 5 games were underdog one.
Yeah.
Not favourite one, so a crazy round of footy. And yeah.
3 of the top 4 teams lost, which was, you don't see that very often. What's Div 2?
For Div 2, I've got Goodwin missing the finals. That was probably a bit of a shock for everyone going into the season, so they'll have to regroup and go again next season. Also, Darcy Pisani from Modbury getting in the best players 16 of 18 times.
That is a fair effort from the former boy from Central Districts, and it's good stat there on Goodwood. Many, and I mean many, tipped them to go undefeated straight back up. It's Adelaide Footy League stuff is a tough comp. I looked at the three-way battle for relegation, which came down to the final round. Foss had a 58-point loss to the Raggies. They now go to Division 3. Old Iggy's had a 41-point win over Towns, and they escape for the second time in 3 years by the skin of their teeth in round 18. Well done to Old Iggy's staying up. Division 3, mate?
Yeah, I had Henley losing only their second game of the season just before the finals as well by 39 points to Unley Mercedes Jets. And fifth place spot decided by percentage, relegation decided by a 1 point win with relegated CBC having better percentage, but better percentage than the surviving Scotch. So, yeah. Yes,
interesting. I also referenced the fact that Henley, who we thought were going to be a 20-0 team, getting done quite comfortably by Unley Mercedes really in the end. But the one for me was the battle for the double chance. Pembroke taking on North Haven getting the chocolates by 8 points. So in Division 4, doing my research and planning, no significant changes could actually occur in the ladder, whether it be relegation or top double chances. So it was a big game between Kilburn and Plympton. Of course, Plympton looking all the goods, but they got smoked by Kilburn, 14-15 to 6-5. Davidson, Beth, and that man, Scotty Galbraith, old Chompers Galbraith, in the best players. Kilburn winning all 4 quarters and just getting their groove back from earlier this year.
Awesome, yeah. For Div 4, I had the first to fifth on the ladder only separated by 8 points. So very even comp there. First on 29 because of a draw. Plympton, second place on 28 points. Westminster, third place only by percentage on 28 points as well.
Yes, nicely done. Division 5 was the battle for fifth, which we previewed in last week's show with Vince Cosme, and he tipped Marion, I tipped Pulteney, and it was Marion 7-10 defeated by Pulteney 8-7-55. A huge win to Pulteney that sneaks them into fifth, and well, now they're a puncher's chance in the final.
Yeah, I had the same. Pulteney just sneaking into the finals by 1.57%.
Yep. You're the Div 6 expert, mate, so you better lead off.
Yeah, Div 6, I had Houghton needing to make finals, only losing by 4 points, so that caught my eye. Very unlucky there. Also, we mentioned the Div 6, right? But Hendricks getting 18 out of 18 in the best players.
Yes, Fitzroy beating Houghton to get that double chance. St Paul's beating Lutheran to get fifth. And, of course, Salisbury now undefeated for the season. And in Div 7, for the fourth time this year they met. It was OSB and Hackham, and OSB again. Come finals time, the big boys have stepped up. Rigney was 6. They've comfortably got over Hackham by about 10 goals.
Awesome. Yeah, for Div 7, I had Brahma Lodge from 5th place winning their elimination final, so congrats to them. Their next match against Hackham, they have a 1-on-1 record with this season. They actually beat them in round 3 by 38 points, so one to watch.
Yeah, I had them in my top 3 at the start of this year, Brahma Lodge, and felt a bit silly throughout the year, but they've actually come good at the right time, and they might just get there in the end. So that's been a great by you as well, mate, as always. Thanks for watching What Caught Our Eye. It's time for the final word on Between the Posts, brought to you by SAPOL. Of course, looking for new recruits all the time. Have you had fun, Jad?
Yes, for sure. Always good fun to come on the show and talk about footy, talk about Div 6 and make predictions, which I usually get right.
Oh, the Babe Ruth of Div 6. They've given the kid a big head. Absolutely flying. All right, I just want to say very quickly thanks to our sponsors who do a great job. They'll come up now, mate. But if you're that good, I want to ask you 2 questions, looking for a one-word-ish answer. Who is winning the Division 6 Grand Final?
I'll go for Salisbury. They've obviously undefeated all year. They get the week off now to rest and recover and watch the rest of the finals go at it, and they'll be waiting for the winner of whoever makes it through to the Grand Final, I think.
I agree with you, mate. Yeah, they've still got a bit of work to do, but they're definitely the team to beat. And Division 1, you've seen more of it than I have live this year. Who's winning the Grand Final?
I'll still say Glenunga, despite their loss. Yeah, as you mentioned in the preview earlier, Nathan Grumble won't be happy with that one. They'll push forward and he'll have them firing up for the final series for sure, I'm sure.
Yeah. And, well, when you're 16-0, you can afford to have a slip-up. They just won't want a second one. Nah, beautifully done, mate. Now, commentary is obviously back this week at Webb Oval for Glenunga versus PNU. Whereabouts are you, mate?
I'll be at the Port District versus St. Peter's. So St. Peter's coming off that big win. Port District trying to get ready for finals. It's going to be interesting.
Yes, St. Peter's, they've done round 18 heroics before. Can they do it again? I think they possibly can. Port with nothing to play for. I can't wait to get obviously you guys send all your stuff straight to me straight after the game. Can't wait to see how that game played out. Thanks for joining us on Between the Posts. We're back with more next week.